Hello ladies and gentlemen, Dave Hayes here from Glissando Pedal Steel Products, maker of the chord finder and scale harmonizer tool for the pedal steel guitar, E9, C6, B6 universals, 10, 12 strings, pretty much anything. A reference tool and teaching tool that will show you how and where to play every inversion of 17 different chord types in every key. No matter your co-pedant, we can handle up to 8 pedals and 5 knee levers combination. So check that out, invaluable learning and reference tool on the web at glissandopsproducts.com. Okay, today's thing is a little different. It's not a lesson per se or an exercise like we've been going over. More an examination of the E9 tuning and the strings and intervals involved in that tuning and some of their relations and how it kind of works. You know, this is really a fascinating instrument. The more you understand how it works and get under the hood, as I like to say, and see how this thing is designed to work. You know, it's truly an incredible piece of musical engineering. Obviously, a lot of thought and experimentation went into it. You know, there's some key guys very involved. Bud Isaacs, Jimmy Day, Buddy Emmons certainly had a huge hand to play in the final development of the instrument into what we see today. So let's take a look at some of that stuff and see what we can understand about it. Okay, the guitar is tuned to E9, and the tonic note, the root note, is this 8th string. That's your lowest E note. Now there are 2 notes underneath that. One is a D, the 9th string, and one is a B, the 10th string. But we'll start this exercise on the 8th string because that is the root note of the guitar. So, number 8, E. Okay, your next string up, F sharp, is the 2nd note in the E scale. So you got one tone, one interval between those. Okay, so that's your 2nd. Your next string up, the 6th string, is G sharp, and that's the 3rd note in the E scale. So, you know, and that's the 3rd. Remember, it's the 3rd that gives you your major minor tuning. If I was to lower this G sharp to a G, all right, that's pretty close. That's your minor tuning. Hear it? Major, minor. So it's the 3rd that gives you that major minor, and the G sharp is the 3rd. Now, we don't have a 4th, which is the A note, in the open tuning. You get the 4th by pressing the B pedal, playing the 6th string. That's your 4th. However, there's a reason why it's not done on the open tuning, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so we go right from the 3rd to the 5th string, which is also the 5th note. It is the 5th. E to B is the 5th. Okay, so that gives you your root, your 3rd on the 6th string, and your 5th on the 5th string, and that is an E major chord, and that's your tonic chord. Okay, now the next string up is another E string, the 4th string. That's just an octave of the 8th string. All right, so far. Now we still need the 6th note, okay, which is C sharp. We don't have that open. You get a C sharp by pressing the A pedal down, playing the 5th string. Okay, there's your C sharp, which is the 6th note in the scale. Now the 7th note in the scale is the 2nd string. Okay. Okay, now that was added by Buddy Emmons in 1962. After, I'm sure, a lot of analysis and a lot of trying to play things like this. you can't get that sound without that chromatic D sharp in there, okay? So that's a really critical string right there. It's the 7th note. Now, let me state that's what gives you a major 7th chord, okay? Here's an E major. Add in that 2nd string, and that's a major 7th voicing. Now, interesting to note that if you play the 4th string, okay, which is an E note, and the 7th note in the scale, which is the D sharp, okay, there's only a half tone difference there. Okay, and the ear, particularly the Western ear, it does not like a half tone interval. It's too close, and the ear hears it with some dissonance. Okay, hear that? Interestingly, though, if you add in the 5th, it becomes much easier to listen to, and you know, gives you that major 7th tone. So there's your 7th note on the 6th string. The 3rd string is another G sharp, okay, which is just an octave of the 6th string. And the last string we're dealing with here on the top side is an F sharp, which is the octave of the 7th string. Now, below the E string, the tonic, okay, we have 2 notes below that. One is a D, the 9th string. Now that 9th string, that D note, is the dominant 7th, or blues 7th. And you want to remember that when you're reading charts and music and stuff, when you see like an E 7th chord, they're referring to the dominant 7th chord, the one that has the D in the chord, not the D sharp, which is the major 7th. If they want you to play a major 7th, they will write E M A J 7. They will specify the major 7th. Generally speaking, if a 7th is not specified, it's the D note, the dominant 7th chord. So you can get a dominant 7th chord, a blues 7th, by just dropping your E note, okay, and playing the 9th string instead. There's your 7th voicing there, okay? Underneath that, you have another B string, okay, which is the octave of the 5th string. And that's what completes the major grips. 10, 8, 6, 8, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4, and 5, 4, 3. All of those strings are in an E major triad. And that's how that works. Now, let's talk about the B pedal for a minute, the 4th note in the scale. Okay, those are the two, the A and the C sharp that you have to actually engage pedals to get. Now, the A, okay, when you press the B pedal and you get the A note, if you don't also get a C sharp, you have a suspended 4th chord. Hear that difference? Here's the major. Here's the suspended 4th. Now what that means is, remember, it's the 3rd that gives you a major or minor voicing. A suspended 4th does just that. It suspends the use of the 3rd. There is no G sharp or G to give it a major or minor, and replaces the 3rd with the 4th, giving you a suspended 4 chord. Now, there's also a suspended 2nd chord, which does exactly the same thing, suspends the use of the 3rd, the G sharp, and replaces it with the note on the 7th string, the F sharp. So if you play strings 8, 7, and 5, that's a suspended 2nd chord. Here's the suspended 4th. Here's the suspended 2nd. And here is the major. So you could do it like this. That's root, second, third, fourth, third, second, root. Okay, and that can be used really nice. You can do things like, okay, so keep that in mind. Now, the A and B pedals, okay, the C sharp. Now, what happens there is very interesting. The reason I believe, I'm not sure, but my theory on why there's no A and C sharp is that by putting them on pedals, okay, they enabled the 4 chord to be made with the same major groupings, that 10, 8, 6, 8, 6, 5, 6, 5, 4, 5, 4, 3. Because what happens is when you press down the A and B pedals, this 6th string, that A now becomes the root, okay? The C sharp becomes the 3rd for an A chord, and this E is now the 5th for the A chord. So you've transposed this E major chord to an A major chord by pressing the A and B pedals. So you can still have your E major scale by using the pedals, but by having the pedals get the let's see, that would be the 4th and the 6th note, you enable that use of the pedals to get the 4 chord. So that's some of what's going on there, and it is really so interesting to try to understand these intervals. Here's a little exercise you might want to take. We'll switch to the key of A for a second. But to play a chromatic scale, which is every note, okay, not just the diatonic scale, which is like E, F sharp, G sharp, but E, F, G, E, F sharp, G, G sharp, A, etc. You can see the intervals on the guitar by using your knee levers. Here's E, here's F, okay? Then you have to go F sharp, bar, G sharp, A. There's one in there. Okay. So if you learn those intervals, you will start to hear. Things that people are playing, and you'll start to recognize the sounds that individual combinations of strings make. Like you'll be listening to a tune and say, oh, okay, probably the 10th string and the 9th string are involved in that, because I can hear that, third 3 halftone interval. Okay, that's a particular sound, and as a matter of fact, it's part of a minor. Okay, when you have that third halftone. So that's a little bit about the E9th neck. It's just food for thought. No great shakes here, but some interesting observations, I think, on how this guitar is designed and how deep you can get into it should you care to do so. So that being said, best wishes. Have a good evening. Best wishes to you, your family, your loved ones, and we'll see you next time. Dave Hayes. Thank you.